But I think a lot of it is that script needs time to sit through your different mentalities to reach a point where, hey, the after the third year of reading it, I still like it as is. Great. Maybe it's ready to go, right? But I think without that time, you're going to let whatever you're feeling in your current moment dictate that script. And that may not be the best version of that script because you may not be the best version, the correct version of yourself at that moment.
We are the
Get Reelisms Podcast.
I am Adam Chase Ray.
And I am Christine Chen. And surprise, we're both filmmakers.
We get into it by sharing secrets, advice, and gossip in filmmaking.
And we even get our other filmmaking friends to share theirs too.
So please, everybody, join us for
an ode to filmmaking.
My goodness gracious, we've gone international, folks. Welcome to the Get Reelisms Podcast, episode 138. I am Adam Chase Rennie.
And I am Christine Chen. You're coming in and out on my end over on the main Discord.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Does it sound fine with you?
It sounds fine. There was a delay, and I thought you didn't hear me for a second, or
okay.
You cut out. But yeah, I hope.
Okay.
I hope it's good.
Hope it chills out because, like, on my phone, it's fine.
I just
like, what am I listening to?
Yeah, I just won't talk
see.
much.
Okay, good. You just won't talk much. No, we are international because I am in Taiwan. Yay! And there is a
9:30 a.m.
8-hour difference. What time?
No, it's 14.
It's 9:41 a.m. here. And what time is it where you are?
It's 7:40 p.m. yesterday for you.
Yeah, look at that. I'm in the future,
You're
guys.
in the future. Yeah, dude.
I'm in the future, recording from the future, February 1st.
Yeah. How's your February 1st?
My February 1st is starting off well. I had a poor attempt at working out, because it's still overall. And correct me if this is a blanket statement, but
go ahead.
I always feel like the Asian culture, at least I can speak for Taiwan, like working out isn't really a concept, like a cultural concept, really, still, because they're like, we walk everywhere, so they're like, well, why do you go and like work out type thing?
Yeah.
And so I have this like makeshift workout area. My dad found some stuff, you like mats that you put like in your front, not a workout mat, but just like a plastic thing. Mm-hmm. And he was like, here, and it like zero cushion. It's basically so I'm not right on the floor. And so they went to go do some doctor checkups. I did my workout, and now told them I have this podcast. So they're like, yeah, we'll do the podcast, and then your time is ours. But Taiwan.
Oh, do you have a hard out then, like in an hour roughly? Yeah,
an hour. They know it's about an hour. We started. I that's why I pushed it up because they're like 10. You know that I can. So yes, that's why I think an hour is pretty much it, because I think my grandma woke up, so that means they're going to do breakfast soon. So it's later. Yes, my grandma has like major insomnia now these days, and so she just wakes up at random times, and so she usually wakes up pretty late now because she sleeps a lot. Because she is 95.
Holy Christ, really? That's awesome.
I know. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's really interesting. She like functions great and everything. The only one thing is she like repeats herself a lot because she forgets. So it's almost like memento. Yeah, she just kind of like does the same thing again. Yeah, and again. We just said this like 2 seconds ago, but it's cool. I'll answer the same question. Yeah.
You can always rely on the Get Reelisms podcast to make only film references to
to movies,
to real life shit. Yeah, that's happening. It's just like Memento.
That's how I world think. I'm gonna put this out there. I highly doubt that anybody will hear it. But if anybody in Taiwan happens to have a film set, I would love to hop on. Any kind of set, it doesn't have to be film. It can be a commercial or whatnot. I would just love to know what it's like to, I don't know, just be on a whole different set with other kinds of rules and stuff. I'd love to do that. So yeah, anybody in Taiwan who happens to have a set of some sort, let me know. I'll come and be a fly on the wall. I might even be helpful. So
I mean, when there's a will, there's a way.
yeah.
You're down for anything and everything. You know what I mean?
Mom. So my parents are sharing a room, so they kind of don't
Hi, Mom.
understand what privacy means. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's awesome.
So yeah. So we're all sleeping in the same room, and I think that's the thing. I think that's why culturally there's no concept of privacy, is because like you're in the same house, so why do we need privacy? You know?
Right.
Roger is an old friend of mine who went to Taiwan with me a long time ago, so he's going to appreciate this. But hey, Roger, I'm in Taiwan.
So how long have you been there?
So yeah,
already?
no, it's been. It feels like I've been here for 4 days, but I've really only been here for 2 because I arrived on Tuesday morning. Did I lie? Okay, no. I arrived on the 30th. What day is that? Or no, I left on the 30th. I left on Sunday. So what day is Sunday?
Tuesday would be the 30th for us, or for me at least.
Okay, cool.
Because you're in the future.
So I arrived. Yeah, I'm in the future. So I arrived on Tuesday morning at like 5:45 a.m. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I was freaking out because I had a fellowship app due on Tuesday, and I was at the airport in the past, and we were debating like, oh shit, should I just submit it now? Because technically, if something happens because I'm in the future, or it's just hard to. So I'm in the plane is boarding, and I'm on the laptop like right near the line.
Of course,
I'm waiting for my co-producer Mai to send me her some paperwork she needs to do, and she's like, I'm almost done. I'm like, you don't understand, like the plane is boarding right now, just send me what you have, I don't care anymore. And so she said to me, and I'm like, send, getting on boarding.
I mean, with how much work you've done, I would just like eat up the cost of Wi-Fi on the plane and just fucking get that Wi-Fi, just so you're not stressing yourself out.
Right? That would be, but I've never had really good experiences with plane Wi-Fi. But maybe,
really?
Maybe I just haven't been paying for all the good stuff. Yeah. I don't know. But maybe I should try that sometime. Is go on and pay for the good Wi-Fi and work
Right.
Work on the plane. Yeah. So, but no, it's been cool. I can definitely tell. It's funny. Even though the last time I came back to Taiwan was in 2019, I can already tell that I have a shift in emotional intelligence, maybe is what it is, or just an appreciation. I think because I'm deeper into film, deeper into the writing process and everything, I'm just more in tune to like observing and being in the moment and trying to be, not trying, but just letting the world inspire me. And I think because of that, I've been like subtly trying to ask. This has also been like a subtle way of interviewing my parents about their lives too. So like while we're walking down the market, I'll be like, so did you walk to school? And my dad still looks at me and is like, why are you asking me this? Yeah. Because the Asian culture, we don't share things about ourselves at all.
Yeah, my dad,
to yourself, at least the parent.
Yeah. My dad's the same way. An immigrant from Morocco. He like they don't share shit usually. He's like I mean it was bad. Oh, what do you want from me? I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. And so I'm like asking all these questions. My parents just like, oh, why are you asking me this?
Right.
And if it's really loud, hopefully it's not. I'm deep in the city of Taipei, and right outside is the market. basically, which is super cool.
That
you
is
walk
cool.
outside and you can start buying vegetables. Yeah, it's
That's
great. It's
fucking
like you're
awesome. I
you
love that.
have you have HEB right in the in your
Well,
driveway.
Better than HEB. That shit is literally farm
No,
to
it's
market.
much better.
That's like literally
it's
farm
literal
to market.
farm to market. Yes, it's awesome.
It's great.
I wish the U.S. would do more of this, and you didn't have to like drive to an actual farmer's market. You would just literally have it right outside your door,
Or not
it's
have
great.
it cost like
That's not-
$15 for a bushel of bananas, at like a typical farmer's market.
Everything is so cheap.
Yeah, I know. I saw the Instagram posts.
amazing.
Those
Yeah,
prices look
yeah.
insane.
Yeah. It's awesome. My dad loves being like, and all of this cost $5. I'm like, great.
All right, don't rub it in.
Yeah, here is like food for like everyone, 6 people for like the entire day, and it costs like $4. God damn it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. But I'm going to be applying for my dual citizenship, so I'm excited about that.
Really? Are you planning
Yes,
on
I'm going
like
to be, yeah.
co-living there as well?
So no, so what I learned, so that's why I'm like, oh shit, you don't have. I thought you had to live here to get your citizenship, but in this case, Taiwan, if you have a parent who's Taiwanese, you can apply for Taiwanese citizenship. I'm like, fuck yeah, I totally want to be a citizen of Taiwan. Yeah, and then it's just you can't participate in the healthcare until you've like lived here for 6 months.
Residency.
But my dad's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's easy.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, we have our address. Just put your address there, and then then let it, and then come visit. Here and there. Yeah, you just can't. You can't go in stints. Like you have to regularly visit every 2 years and to keep up your health care. I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. So, yeah, great free health care, of course. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm gonna apply for the citizenship. I'm excited about that. So, I new goal. I'm gonna be a multiple citizen person. I already knew that eventually I would have dual citizenship somewhere, but now I can add Canada to the list. I want to do Canada and the UK. I would love to have citizenships in those countries as well. Yes. And then I will be a spy.
You can be a
4
CIA
passports.
asset. Yeah, that's awesome.
Then I will be a CIA asset after that.
Awesome. That fucking rules.
That's pretty great. That's like unlikely undercover. I'm a filmmaker, but I'm actually a spy. Please don't record me, whoever in the government. I am not.
I mean, this is a public podcast, so
So yeah, but so yeah,
That's
so
awesome,
That's
though.
what's new. Yeah, it's I just become definitely more aware of I'm here and everybody converses with me and Chinese, and I have a great time doing that. I'm just so much more thankful that that's how I grew up, being so in touch. And I still think I'm a terrible Asian. However, I can at least speak it fluently, and I just have an appreciation for that, because I watch like my friends who are what we call first generation, have my brother like having kids, and my friend Suma, and they're like, we can't even get our kid to like eat their food. It's impossible for us to teach them another language. Because it's these couples that have. It's been very that's been my new like fascinations observing. There's couples who are mixed, and so they speak at home in English because that's the only way for the other spouse to understand them, type thing. But then they each speak their own language, whether that's, in my brother's case, his wife is white and he's Chinese, and so they speak English at home. But like my cousin in Vancouver, she speaks Mandarin, and her husband speaks whatever the Maldives folks speak.
okay.
And then my Asuma, even though they're both Indian, they're different parts of India. So they did her husband speaks like Tamil, and she speaks Hindi, so then they speak English at home, and it's been this constant like, so like, are you guys going to speak at home in certain languages or so? So I think it's pretty cool that despite the push of the kid to like not want to learn, that it was just so ingrained into how we were brought up as a kid that are fully fluent and everything. And not only am I fluent in Mandarin, I understand Taiwanese perfectly, and I've been trying to practice speaking it as well. So, and that's just simply because I'm in the same room where I hear it as a kid all the time and just figured it out, So
have you ever
I don't know.
Have you ever dreamed in a different language? There's people I've been friends with who like if they speak Spanish for enough time, they just start dreaming in Spanish.
You know what? I'm not sure if I have or not. I tend to forget most of my dreams, but I do math in Chinese still. Yeah.
Do you?
That's how I learned. Yeah. So anytime I'm doing math, it's always in Chinese. Yeah. But no, I don't know if I dream in another language or not. But yes, in the new film Afterlives, there's a line about that she dreams. Have you seen
really?
Afterlives?
No. I gotta.
Afterlife?
I've been meaning to watch it.
Okay, it's an excellent film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a line in there where her husband is white, and she's like, I want to learn, I'm learning Korean because the line was like, you have this other world where I'm not a part of because I don't know the language, and you even dream in your language. Yeah. And
that's cool.
And they said, someone said great film. Yeah. It's fantastic, and he's just basically saying like, and she's like, "Oh, you want to learn my language so you can hear my dreams?" Yeah, it was understand what I'm dreaming. It's really cute. It's that whole idea of like of being in a different language creates this natural barrier of a world that is uniquely one person's versus somebody else's because of language, and I find that extremely interesting. So I've been asking lots of ninja questions. It's like a ninja. I'm like such a good interviewer now. And it'll be anything. It'll be like my mom is like buying vegetables. I'm like, hey, so when you moved to the U.S., what happened? How old were you? Yeah. Were you ever lonely? Were you ever? Yeah. And it has to be like super subtle. Like they have to be focused on something else, and I like come in and then attack them with a emotionally charged question. They can't. They just want me to go away, so they just answer it. Yeah, because they're like in the middle of buying vegetables.
Yeah, they can't escape, so you sort of trap them.
Yeah,
you parent trap them.
I'm trying to haggle right now, and you're asking me this question. Okay, let me. Yes. Can we make that 200 instead of 300? Yes. When I moved, it was around when I was 29, and yes, you were a baby, and okay. Oh yeah. No. Can we do 250? And also.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, that's great, Mom. So how did you feel?
Let me write this down.
All right, but wait, I'm so close to getting 200. So 200 for 3 cucumbers. Okay, well, how I always felt like, what do you mean? So that's my new way of interviewing my parents is subtly through while they're doing things, so that they can't escape.
I kind of do that with
because I.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no! I was just saying I'm doing this because I'm writing the script that I'm developing right now is everything to do with what it's like to be an immigrant raising a first generation kid. So I'm trying to live what my parents, or try to get some semblance of what it possibly could feel like, So coming to Taiwan it's it's kind of a good. I mean, no, it's not because I'm fluent in Mandarin. So I I mean, I can't read it, so that's kind of a little bit similar. Just if I were to be left to my devices here in Taiwan, like how would it feel, type thing.
Right.
I'm just trying to think because my parents moved. I found out. So my dad and my mom moved to the States when they were like 26, 25, 26. Yeah.
Wow.
And they were first in, was it Minnesota? They had a host family, and then they moved to Oklahoma and then Texas for like education. It's all education. So it's been very interesting because I've been being in Taiwan. I'm like, holy shit, Taiwan's like amazing, but I'm seeing Taiwan not from 1980 whatever, when my parents came, but at 1982 when my parents came, but as 2024. And
Right.
so trying to get that, what was Taiwan like in 1982? And that's been very interesting, So my dad's like, oh yeah, it's at that point, the U.S. was definitely the most developed and most up and coming. Everybody wanted to come to the U.S. and everything. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense because right now, in 2024, Taiwan, if I were here, I'd be like, no fucking way am I moving to the U.S.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, because like everything is so accessible.
Mm.
The public transportation system is so developed. Cost of living is so low. Like I said, you buy just produce. It's like so cheap, good produce, and it begs the question of like, this is why there's a health crisis in the U.S. and all that stuff is because like here, like people can eat vegetables cheaper than like fast food and all that stuff, and it's just so easily accessible. And I just walk out. Everybody walks everywhere, You can drive from one end to the next end of Taiwan, within a day, and there's just a million places to explore. And right now the weather is like LA right now. Yeah. So, I mean, I went from LA weather to LA weather. It's lovely. So,
that's good at least. I mean, shit. It's better than having humid and like sticky and hot, Louisiana style,
Yes. No, not right now. Not right now. That will be in the summer. In the summer, it's Houston. It transforms into Houston. Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm using Taiwan as an opportunity to research. Throw my parents through try to understand how they grew up, how they felt, how they all those things while they're distracted.
Right. Well, you didn't you have the script already like sort of written before you left the US?
Yeah, I do. I wrote it. It's a short, but this is collecting info for when I actually write the pilot itself. So or the feature. The pilot. It can be either or. I think what we pitch is the series because I think there's room for a lot of development in that, but if I have to develop as a feature too, I can type thing. So I'm just collecting little details and I would love to go back, to my short. I think it's like 15 pages or something, and like if I can add little subtleties in there, to make it better, that would be good.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. So that's been fun. Just trying to like live in my parents' shoes or try to really dive into like why the heck would anybody like I say like why the heck would anybody leave their country and go somewhere else, and I'm going to move to Canada, but at least like it uses these are two places that speak English. That doesn't count.
Right. Well,
it would count if it was like I'm going to move to Italy,
right.
That's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be fairly similar in many ways, but different in certain circumstances, of course. But I mean, yeah, like do you feel like now that you've kind of opened yourself more up to creativity, does it feel like your perspectives sort of like, I don't want to say shift, but at least like understand enough to the point where like, okay, like your parents are kind of like a little shy about speaking about their past, but like you become like cognizant of it. You become aware of it. And it's probably because of their upbringing that they don't really, that's not a whole thing that they can share. So you sort of have to like circumstantially like understand their time period versus 2024, Yes.
I think the biggest thing is there's a big truck or something outside.
That's a great microphone because I don't hear it.
You didn't hear it? That's
good.
It's like it's so loud outside. I think it's understanding the why. I think is always the biggest thing that adds value in writing is when you can really tell a great script when you can very easily tell from the characters why they make certain decisions without them being expository about it, because it's so built in and it was so thought through that the way it's written, it affects everything that they do. And I think that's the fun part is this time in Taiwan, I am digging for the why. I'm trying to understand like the core of, how my parents were as kids, because how you are and how you're brought up as children really affect subconsciously how you are as an adult and why you do certain actions. And I think that's the biggest difference is that instead of coming here and being like, just, I don't know, I just feel like it's funny because like I'm having all these like epiphanies now, like just approaching everything that I see so differently that I kind of wonder like, what the fuck was I doing like 5 years ago when I was here? Was I a zombie? Yeah. How to, but here, I just feel like it's just a new way of thinking. And then it makes you think like, but how much our mindset affects us. That simply shifting your perspective changes your entire experience of the same thing. You are on a psychological, archaeological expedition. That is great description.
Damn.
Yes, that is what it is. I am on a psychological, archaeological expedition, but I have to do it subtly. So
you have to do it like as a spy, like incognito.
As a spy. Yes, incognito. Well, it works great when they're buying something. Chen, how did your parents make you feel? Yeah, it's a
great strategy. That's what I got to do to my dad. I just got to like corner him in a market and just be like, "While you choose the cucumbers, tell me about your when you played soccer as a child."
Yeah. How did it make you feel?
Right.
That's the problem. Is how did you make you feel? Stealth mode.
Stealth mode. Yeah, that is interesting though. Because it's like I understand from their perspective, it kind of sounds loaded, where it's just like, well, how did it make you feel? It's like, I never thought of that before. Like,
that exactly.
That's not a thing you think of. Yeah.
You don't think about like how it makes you feel.
Yeah, you dissociate from it as far away as possible.
Yeah. So I was walking around with my mom, and I was trying to understand. I was like, so, when you were in the U.S., did you have friends when you first? She's like, no. I'm like, did you feel lonely?
Yeah.
She's like, it took her. She's like, I guess. Yeah. I'm like, great. I was like, what did you do when you were bored? She was like, I don't know. She's like, I wasn't bored for long because you were born. I was like, yeah.
Right.
I understand that. Yeah. But you just, trying to understand, like, okay, so you got there, like, what did you do at the house all day? Because, like, you couldn't drive, and you didn't have any friends. What did you do?
Yeah.
So it was, and she was like, well, I was spending most of the time just figuring out, like, day-to-day things. I'm like, that's great insight.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Shit like that. You write that in, just easy day-to-day things that you take for granted, you figure out. And it makes lots of sense because I'm here and I'm like, why are these toilets squatting? Like just little things, that you just like, that like annoy you because you're so used to it a certain way, right? So if I can capture those subtleties in the writing, then that's the part that's interesting and exciting, hopefully. So that is a perspective that I have that a lot of people would not, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing that. And I'm glad you kind of have some sort of like you're just like, you still, I mean, I hate to say it, you still are in work brain, but with the exception of you writing, you actually exploring in creativity. I mean, it's like the whole writer's like idea of like, you got to experience life in order to focus on those moments in your writing that can take you back,
I think that's why I'm having such a big, I wouldn't say a renaissance, but I definitely have been writing a lot more than I ever have in the past. And because prior to that, I was doing a lot of stuff. I was on set all the time and working. And I'm really, really now realizing that it is very difficult to create when you're constantly doing. You have to have moments when you're just experiencing and you're not actively doing something. That's weird because like when you're experiencing, you're also doing stuff. But like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like if you're constantly, working, maybe it's just working. When you're working, it becomes it's very easy to become autopilot, you're just going and you're not thinking, you're just like, just doing your job. But I think so much about writing is having moments where you just sit on the MRT or where, public transportation and just watch people and think. And I do a lot of thinking. I just sit and watch my parents. I watch my grandma. And I'm just like, just the little, trying to find the little nuances that you don't think about because they are innate and second nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So many of those subtleties don't get written into scripts because you just assume people know these things, right? But it is very different if you're writing from a different perspective in terms of like, I'm writing as my mom in 1982 when she moved from a very different Taiwan to what I'm experiencing to a very different U.S. at that point. And to be able to put yourself in that mindset is a whole nother different skill. And a lot of it takes just observing and thinking, and whatnot, and asking lots of questions with people who don't. Yeah, I mean, it's not fair because if someone were to ask me, like, how did you feel when you were 7? Like, I don't know. Yes.
You get it. Yeah.
I was 7. Yeah. So I understand that these are weird questions and on top of that, the cultural aspect of, it's just not a very sherry. Right.
But it's sort of like you gain a completely probably different connection, maybe whether they know it or not. Like you will have a kind of a completely new understanding of your parents on a emotional and spiritual level, So, and that can really like, it can really make that relationship stronger, but also like more available to like sort of be honest and see that transparency and whatnot, Whether it's not, it doesn't have to be necessarily bad things. It could be like good things. It could just be like, remember that one time you took me to get ice cream, and then there's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you saying to me right now? And you can have those sort of like, because I do that with my parent. Like my mom my mom is very like, she'll share everything with you. She'll fucking like she'll share the entire history of our family with you, no problem. My dad is definitely the guy who I have to sort of like
pull it out.
Yeah, not pry, but pull out delicately. You know what I mean? To the point where it's like I would tell him like, hey, remember this one time? And then sometimes you'd be like, oh, yeah. That was when we had this, and this. And I like having those experiences because it kind of reinforces the idea of what made my dad happy versus what made my dad sad. And I was able to like kind of like ride that wave of like, like, it was probably tough for you growing up. Also, remember when we saw Transformers for the first time in theaters? It's like you ride this wave where it's like, you build a bond and a connection that I didn't really have before. All I remembered was my mom and dad fighting. That's all I remembered growing up. But there's so much more to it, and there's like getting down to the nitty gritty of it. With family history is always fascinating, and it kind of gives me a much better and much more clear understanding of what sort of they went through, So I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing, Christine, and I'm glad that you are sort of like enhancing the creative switch of your work brain. Well, just like the creativity and the awareness too. The awareness is there, which is great because you probably see things that you have never seen before prior to what you've experienced in Taiwan.
Definitely. I think it's just like I'm seeing everything just in a completely different light. When you approach it with this kind of curiosity, you can't help but be extremely in tune. And I don't know, it just makes me wonder, like, why don't I approach every single day like this? It's exhausting.
If
maybe.
only.
I don't know, but it's just like but it's because I'm just constantly asking why. Why are the markets like this? Why is this? Why? Just everything is why. But it definitely is inadvertently bringing me closer to my parents because now I can understand, why doesn't my mom go out and do stuff on her own? Because I'm terrified to go walk around outside by myself at night, and explore and do shit by myself, type thing. I'm like, what if I get lost? What if? And now I'm like, really, really getting that feeling. And it may not be exactly how it feels in 1982. And you can never recreate that, but at least you have similar feelings that you can get, get inspired by and hopefully put that back into writing. And I think that's how it is. I think with directing too, it's like, sure, when somebody's directing a period piece, I'm always thinking like, how the fuck do they they don't know what it's like to be there during the Victorian ages or something, but it's less about that. It's more about the feelings can be translated across time, across language, across location and everything. Feelings are not specific to that. It's just specific to a human experience. And so, you have to experience things yourself to feel those feelings. And so, I remember I got into a fight with a friend because this was when I was raising money for Ursula, and he was like, dude, if all you think about is work, you're not going to have an experience. And if you don't have experiences, how are you going to expect to write stuff that people give a shit about. Yeah. And I'm like, he was right. Yeah, you got to go live your life so that you know how it feels, so that you can convey how that feels to an audience. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and it's also like kind of that cold, harsh reality that you don't really need, but it is something that you kind of need, you know? It's like, you know, there's a, I don't know, there's just like such a different way of thinking when it comes to like writing. Like it's very different every single year. Like looking back at like previous drafts of my script, I was in a completely different state of mind. First draft, like the first draft, I mean, even before the first draft, when I was just like had it in my like doc, you know, to give it like to create log lines for and give it to, you know, the counselor at the time for Film Connection. And just wondering like, oh fuck, like I've thought about this for a while. I guess I'll just put this in one of these things. And seeing how it is now compared to then, it was just like, I feel like a completely different person. Although I'm still the same fucking dum-dum, you know? So it feels so different, but very, very much the same. It's just, yeah, I was a lot angrier then for some reason, you know, like yeah, I mean, I still am, but it's different now. I've calmed down a lot.
You point out something that I think is really important is that where you are in life while you're writing does significantly affect how you see your writing and therefore how you are writing. Yeah, and that is also why I'm realizing more and more how part of the process is before you are ready to shoot something, that script hopefully should have sat for a while for you to go through multiple different stages of where you are personally to know for a fact that the script is at a point where you're truly happy with it. You know, I speak from experience in terms of I love rushing things. I'm very much like I want to do it now. That's me. I'm very goal driven, and I always want it now, not later. I want to do it now because time is ticking. But there is this is gonna get so like woo woo, but there was a lady I had tea with yesterday. Like we were at this tea house, and she was like, "That's the problem with our society is that we are, and it's only going to get worse. We're in a society where we want immediate gratification. We want immediacy right now. We want to experience something. We want things that are fast. We want things that are easy. That's why fast food is increasing. We want immediate gratification." But she's like, "But tea," she said, "tea is better when you've poured it multiple different times. It's not the first time when you steep the tea, like true, really good quality tea. It's not the first time when you steep the tea that's going to have the best flavor. She's like, it's after the third or the fourth time when you steep the tea that brings out the subtleties and the beauty, the taste of that tea. And that takes time." And I really, really, really resonated with that because I think that's how writing should be great writing. And it makes sense why it takes people so long to make a movie sometimes, or they write something and then it takes like, 5 years before they actually make it.
Yeah.
Because, right, funding, sure. But I think a lot of it is that script needs time to sit through your different mentalities to reach a point where, hey, the after the third year of reading it, I still like it as is. Great. Maybe it's ready to go, right? But I think without that time, you're going to let whatever you're feeling in your current moment dictate that script. And that may not be the best version of that script because you may not be the best version, the correct version of yourself at that moment.
100%.
So I thought, I really loved that conversation I had with her. Because I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So, because I'm revisiting scripts now and being like, oh, this script is all wrong. Or like, or like, I recognize it's a good script, but it's not good enough yet because I'm this kind of person now. I'm more in tune to certain things. I'm asking more of these questions. In Roots, one of them, I'm doing a big rewrite of it. And yeah, so it also begs to, it makes you wonder too, like, is the reason why I haven't gotten certain films funded, is it because it's not ready yet? And the universe is actually telling me that. And that's why I'm not getting the grant that I've applied to or whatever, because it's like, okay, I got to go back and rethink it and get frustrated with it, put it away, not look at it, and then bring it up 2 years ago and to see if the version of myself 2 years later still likes the script,
Yeah.
So.
And it's like an interesting type capsule that way too, because you're right. It's really about the journey, not the destination, So it's very much like the process in which, like, because that was hard for me, just with motivation alone was what kind of like struck me to go back and read the last previous drafts, because, I don't know if I'm looking so much for inspiration as more as just motivation for me to just keep going with this draft and not feel discouraged, because it's like, it's not quite right. Or, there's something about it. The pacing doesn't make sense, or it feels like whatever thing that's just like bothering me.
Yes.
It's like I lock into it. It's like I have ADHD brain, and I can't help but to over focus on that one specific thing, and hopefully I can fix it. It's like, that's not how writing works though. Writing is literally the journey. It's about like starting from the blank page all the way to the fucking end. You can't do that in one sitting. That's impossible. You can't do that.
You can't. Right. And
so,
I'm really, really now realizing that. I think the reason why I'm only now realizing that is because I started writing via the YouTube age. So, which is immediacy.
Yeah.
Sketches.
Yeah.
Is immediacy. Mm-hmm. It's the polar opposite of way of thinking, because with YouTube, sketches, SNL, all that stuff, it's about what's happening then, what's happening now, type thing, so they can stay current, because it's all very politically charged or very influenced by the current environment at that time. When you're writing a feature, even a series, you're developing a really deep story, it's different. It's not what's happening to you, how you are at this exact moment. You want the feelings to translate over time.
Yeah.
That's why there's, if I just wonder, like the person who wrote Shawshank Redemption, whatever, this stuff is cult. It is become such a big, important film in cinema because it translates anytime, any point, anywhere. The feelings that people experience from it are still the same, right? So, and I think that the only way to really truly get that and not be influenced by how you are in that moment is to let something sit, let the script sit. A few years later, you look at it as a different person. You're literally a different person. You look at it and you're like, oh, this is utter shit, or like, oh, this is actually not bad. I would change a few more things, because now I understand, having, I don't know, been on other people's sets or like watched more films. I can do this, write this in this certain way for this to convey better, type thing. So yeah, I'm trying to think of it that way, because it can be really frustrating when you're like, oh, it's been 2 years. It's crazy. It's been 2 years since we made Urzuli. No, more than that, right?
More.
Really? 2 years since the release of Urzuli. So 2022 is when we released it. So it's been 2 years since the release of Urzuli. And I'm like, what am I going to make next? What am I going to make next? So that's been on my mind a lot. But I have to keep thinking, like, trust the process. Like, things are cooking right now. And some things need to cook a lot longer. Some things need to steep a lot longer. I really like the tea metaphor. Just what you were saying, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. That is the problem with our society right now, is that, like, nobody wants to commit for a long term. They want immediacy. They want, how do we feel right now?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like you can get, how do I feel right now? Because obviously when you're watching something, it is how you feel in that moment. But it's you want people to watch it at any point in their lives and still get that feeling that you want them to feel. So, the same feeling.
Yeah, and that's all you can really hope for. You know what I mean? Which is why, like, it's so fascinating to see, like, even old films, that are fucking black and white that still hold the test of time.
I know. I watched. There was one. Did I tell you this last time? Ninochka. It's a black and white film with Greta Gerwig. Was blown away by it. Ninochka, and then A Woman with Two Faces. These are all like films from the 1940s, 1930s, and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's the whole, like, the more I know, the less I know. That's how I feel now about everything. And I think that is the value. I'm going to say a positive about LA. Woo! Is this access to stuff. I just didn't have any of that in Austin. That is a thing, is that there's always a million different screenings going on of obscure films, old films, the city celebrates film so much that you can't help but have a whole cinema historical lesson all the time if you wanted to, so all of this is adding to my current self. And so my current self, looking at scripts I've written 2 or 3 years ago when I didn't have access to that, it's like, rereading the scripts and being like, I can make this better like this, because I'm a more in tune person. I can already tell the different person that's seeing stuff as a writer in a completely different way, more heightened way. So,
and that's a good place to be at.
Yeah, for anybody who's out there who have immigrant or parents or non-American parents that you're trying to connect with them, the best way to do it is get them to do other things, and then you subtly ask them questions. Yeah, buying vegetables is a good spot.
Supermarkets, ladies and gentlemen.
Supermarkets. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good way to engage anything in life, is to just have that sort of connection with family, because I've definitely taken it for granted when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like,
because we're different people.
Yeah,
that's why.
Right. But also, like, I guess it does kind of feel like old man-ish, where it's just like, I realize that I do like my family. It's like, it's part of it. Yeah. It's just like, of course it's part of it, but, like, at the same time, it's just like the perspective that I gain from everything. It's like it's like whenever I see because I realize, like, how long ago the early 2000s and the late 90s were, given that I was born in 1994. I grew up in an era where, like, I watched this TikTok not too long ago. Speaking of fucking, ADHD brain, I watched this TikTok a long time ago. And there's this guy who is just like I see a lot of kids now who want to cosplay as, like, children from the 90s. It's like, okay, I got something for you guys. How about you just don't have a phone? How about, like, when you go to a bus stop, you stare at your feet. You just stare at your feet. That's it. You just stare at your feet. Then you look up and you look at the tree, and then you kind of wonder how many leaves are on the tree. And then you wait for the bus for another 25 minutes. And then you just stare at the car, see how many cars come by in the past 5 minutes. It's like, It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, duh. Because like what replaced that is the fucking phone. Like that's anytime I have any, it's like, and I want to train myself. I don't know how to, but I want to train myself on not to like pull out my fucking phone immediately. Like when there's like a lull or something, just like take in the moment,
right?
Just appreciate even awkwardness. You know what I mean? It's like when you feel awkward and you stand there, it's like, well, I mean, everybody does at some point. You just kind of have to just work through it and work through the social anxiety of it all, you know, instead of just like, oh, at a moment's notice, I'm just going to whip out my phone and just fucking go on,
feel comfortable
wherever the fuck. Right. It's like a little office cubicle. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm in now, you know? Yeah. I need it. And I want to train myself how to like not do that. Essentially, I've gotten better, but yeah, it's just like over the years.
Go to a country where you have to have Wi-Fi in order to get on your phone.
Yeah, maybe I just need to go to.
Then you'll be forced. Then you'll be forced to have moments where you're like, "Oh, well, we forgot the Wi-Fi box. Guess I'm not going on my phone now." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a good way of doing that. I mean, going back to writing is like when I just turn off my Wi-Fi. Like I turn off my Wi-Fi, and when I'm writing, I'm like, because I always dedicate 4 hours of just whatever I can make. You know what I mean? Like in that writing time. Sometimes I write like fucking 40 pages. I am out of my goddamn mind.
None.
And then there's literally yesterday, dude, I had an existential crisis because I've like written one page and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't hate the script. It's just what I wrote is just like, this is fucking dumb. You know Garbage. What? Yeah. And then I just, you know, then I'm starting to read comic books again. Like I'm like, you know, going back to old comic books that I've read and whatnot. And that's been helping tremendously, you know, just going back to old shit when I was growing up and what made me kind of like just unlock that part of my brain where it's just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it's like this, you know, that kind of shit when I was growing up. Even old cartoon, even like Dragon Ball Z, I'm wearing Dragon Ball Z right now. Like rewatching that again, like that was like the first anime I've ever watched in my life. And it fucking changed me. And I didn't realize when I watched it again, I was like, holy shit, this broke my brain when I was a child because like it breaks my brain even today. I'm just like, what? This was of another fucking planet for me. Like back in the early, like, 2003, I was 8-9 years old, and just watching even just this show for the first time, it was just like, it was fucking mind-boggling. And that's what got me into anime today. I still watch anime, you know, as much as I can. You know, I haven't watched much lately, but I'm trying to get back into it, you know. So anybody who's watching, if you got anime suggestions, let your boy know, you know.
I would say another thing that's great is go back and watch the movies that blew your mind and see if they still blow your mind. That's a fun experiment to do.
You know what I watched that I haven't seen in a really long time? You remember Jumanji? The old Jumanji with Robin Williams. It's been...
Yeah, did it blow your mind still?
I don't know if it blew my mind, but it unlocked a part of like my core memory when I was a kid. And I was like, wait, I like even the smells like of my old home like came back and shit like that. Like it was just like, I remember where I was. Like when I was a little kid, I've always watched movies. Like there was this big giant coffee table when I was a child, and I always like had pillows and blankets underneath there. And I just always like watched movies from the ground up. So like I would watch movies like underneath that coffee table, and it was just like, it transported me back to that fucking moment. And I was like, holy shit, the movie I can take it or leave it with. Right. But, and I mean, it's still an okay film. No questions asked. Robin Williams is phenomenal, but I'm just saying, like, unlocking that part of that memory that I had a long ass fucking time ago. It's truly an awesome fucking trip. If anybody can, if anybody does that, you should at least dedicate some sort of thing in your life where you can just kind of go back.
It doesn't have to do Yeah,
No,
I
yeah.
started Roxy. They started as a joke, but it's actually been really fun to do it. Because they were watching like really shit films. Well, films that they were like really loved, but they were actually terrible. But the last one we did that we're like, oh, totally tracks, was The Mummy Returns or The Mummy or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, actually, hold on. I got to write that down.
This is still fun. Yeah, this is still fun. The one that like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That one is so good.
That blows my
script
mind
is
too.
So good. Yeah, I've gone back and like try to understand like why is this so good, but it is so good. But yes, everybody should do this exercise. Go, and I would like to know, whoever's on watching, what is a film that you used to love that you've watched recently and are like, holy shit, it still tracks because it's a fucking good movie.
It does. I mean, listen, I'm gonna watch The Mummy tonight. Like when you said it, I was just like, I'm watching that today. Like, oh my god, it's such a good, and it's on Hulu. Half of that, good.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like that's just something that you need to do. And it's a phenomenal segue to ending this fucking podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We have done an hour. Thank you so much to, I noticed a couple new faces on Instagram. Welcome. Please subscribe. Gilbert Baker Film Fest says The Year of Living Dangerously. Yeah. I mean,
Is that
that's
a movie?
just...
Or no, that's a great movie title. The Year of Living Dangerously. I really like that title. That's not. I don't think that's a movie. Though.
It's it is. It is a movie. It's a Mel Gibson movie.
Oh,
with Sigourney Weaver. Hold on, what?
Of Living. I've never heard of this. It's a movie. I was like, that's a fantastic. I want it.
Yeah, I know. It is a good title, and it is a movie. It came out in 1982.
Oh shit! Okay, we gotta watch that.
We gotta.
I've never seen that.
Anyways, and Linda Hunt. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm putting it in my list. I'm putting it in my list. Things I need to watch.
Yeah, dude. I'm putting that along with The Mummy.
Year of Living.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for you know what time it is. We even though it's International Christine, we still slinging that getreelisms.com at you, baby.
I brought it all the way. To
Look at that! Hell yeah!
Yeah, I'm actually gonna gift it to like a cousin or something.
We gotta. Yeah, it's like you remember Flat Stanley? Growing up, have you ever done Flat Stanley?
No, what's Flat Stanley?
Flat Stanley is like when you have like basically like a paper like person cut out, and you get to like draw on it and whatnot. And what you do is you send it out to like people who also have Flat Stanleys that they want to send to you. It's almost like a pen pal, but like with like a little like thing that you can draw on and shit like that. And some people like to take pictures of where your Flat Stanley is. Like I did it when I was in grade school. Like second grade, I did a Flat Stanley, and my Flat Stanley landed all the way in France, you know? And so it was cool seeing like a kid like take a picture of my Flat Stanley with like, you know, like on like flowers or something like that. This was a long time ago. Cool. Yeah, it was so fucking awesome. But that's basically what we're doing with Get Reelisms, ladies and gentlemen. GetReelisms.com, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up your book, pick up the shirt that Christine's wearing, pick up your hat. That's just what we do here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Hopefully we'll be back next week. I think Christine will still be in Taiwan, yeah?
Yes,
next week.
Taiwan. We figured it out now. We figured out what works.
Yeah, yes. Nights for me the day before, mornings for Christine in the future because it's future Christine.
Future me.
Futuristic Christine. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. I got nothing else for you, and I got a 10-1. You can look that up as well in the book if you don't know what that is.
Yes, and thank you, Gilbert Baker Film. So thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, I have your book on my Gilbert Baker Film Festival shrine. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much, Gilbert Baker. We love it. Make it a great week. Well, you too, Gilbert Baker Film Fest. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That's been the Get Reelisms podcast. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Facebook. Peace out.
From the future.
From the future. Bye-bye.